everyone, and welcome to this time lapse of putting together this model of the Burj Khalifa by Cubics Fan. This model is the biggest, without a joke, that I've ever done. It is, can I see a height? Yes, it is 146 centimeters tall, or 57.4 inches. It has only 136 pieces to it, so it's actually quite a low puzzle count, but it does also involve lights. Now, something that I didn't actually realise when I was putting this together is that the lights do change colour, but just wait till you see that later on. Now, the Burj Khalifa, if I'm pronouncing this correctly, and I'm really sorry if I'm getting it wrong, that's how Google said to pronounce it, so my apologies. There's a reason why this is the biggest model I've ever done of a building, because it is also currently the tallest building in the world, at over 800 meters tall. 828 meters to be exact, or 830 to the very tippity tip top. So it is no exaggeration to say this thing is huge. Now, the instruction manual for this model actually also comes with a couple of pages of factoids about the Burj Khalifa, including, as of 2015, the Burj Khalifa holds 7 world records: the tallest building, the tallest freestanding structure, the highest number of stories, the highest occupied floor, the highest outdoor observation deck, elevator with the longest travel distance, and tallest service elevator in the world. I don't know about any of you guys, but I dread to think what it would be like to go from the stairs to the floor all the way to the ceiling, because I would imagine that also where the Burj Khalifa is built, they have that ruling that you have to have stairs from top to bottom in case of a fire. But just thinking about that makes my legs ache. But think how fit you'd be if that was something that you could do on the daily. Anyway, to this gorgeous puzzle, now that we have mentioned a few factoids, and I may also mention a few others as we go along. As you can see, the material is highly reflective. It is foam with a card on the front and back of the foam, with a bazillion little tabs to punch out. I have to give it to them that the instructions on which puzzle piece to use was relatively straightforward. To be honest, for the most part, when it comes to the puzzle pieces, I've never had any real difficulty when it comes to Cubic Fun. I have with some others, but Cubic Fun do tend to be fairly good. Oh yes, for the first part of this video, as you can see, my phone, one of my phones, because I have a current phone and old phone, one of my phones I'm actually using so that I can see a live chat, because I did actually start off doing this live, and I did start it on my birthday. This was a little birthday present to myself, but I did have to stop partway through because my little dude woke up, and then after that I was like, you know what, I'm too tired, I'm going to bed. The whole thing took me about 3 hours to do, so I've got to say, fairly chuffed at my little self managing it in that kind of time frame. There are lots of seams to fold to make this wrap around correctly, so that and doing all the little punching out of the little bits that need punching out did take time. The actual putting the pieces together really didn't take that long, so if you had someone who could help you knock out all the tabs, you could get it done so quickly. Like I said, this is really quite a relatively straightforward puzzle, considering that the building itself is quite elaborate in design, and obviously is huge. This thing is huge. To be honest, I probably could have made it a lot easier on myself if I had the model held differently as I put it together, but I didn't, because I was trying to film it. Now, these lights, there is actually a problem with these lights that I do want to talk about, and that is that they are not labelled at all. As you can see from the box that's in frame, there are ledges to the Burj Khalifa, and they're at different heights, which means that these lights appear at different heights, and it gave you nothing to know which lights needed to go into which side. And as it turns out, because I was winging it, I got it wrong. Luckily that didn't actually affect anything, because even the shortest one was long enough. But it would have been nice if they had been labelled, and then that would have saved me a little bit of stress, particularly as by the time I had realised I had built up side A. Because you've got like 3 layers to each side. So if anyone from Cubix Fun ever hears this, I would say, could you please put a label on these lights, or anything else that you have like this in the future. And something else that I would also like to mention is that the tabs for putting in the sides, they could have done with being a little longer, because even now that I've got it together, I do have to encourage it to go back into place. So it would be nice if they were a little longer so that they would stay together a bit better. But it's not the end of the world, it just would have been nice. I am planning on moving at some point in the future, so after I've moved I may actually use a little bit of glue to give some added security, because I do worry about the potential of it coming apart. But what I will say is the way that these inner pieces that you won't be able to see once the outer layers go on were designed was brilliant for pinning down the wires. So I do appreciate that. That was a nice little touch. And as you can see, this is just such a beautiful, beautiful puzzle. Like the rainbow effect that you have going on while I'm working on this is absolutely gorgeous and mesmerising. To be honest, I may actually do a version of this without a commentary, because it's just quite mesmerising to watch. I may not, we'll see. So now we're on to just a normal time lapse. And yeah, I had a brain fart moment where I pulled out the wrong piece, but not to worry, because I had it prepped for later on. So you had the sides labelled A, B and C, and it'd be like A11, A12, A13, and then A21, A22, and then A3. You know, it was done like that. So doing this late at night, no sleep. Because of course the only times I can actually do any puzzles is when my kids are asleep, so I am always tired when I am doing these. So that just goes to show how easy these are or difficult they are to do. That, you know, when you're really tired your IQ definitely goes down, but I was still able to create this beautiful work of art. I think, yes, I did have to pause this to look after my little boy and then come back. So there was a few little gaps in this, but I was able to just like power through for the most part. Mind you, I did also have my phone whinging at me that I didn't have enough space, so I kept having to stop and start. So I do apologise that there will be some jumps in the footage coming up. This is where it probably would have helped if I had it stood up, but I didn't. But on the plus sides, it really does highlight how big this thing is. It is so huge. In like every direction this thing is huge. Like that's the base. Well, part of the base. And yeah, sides fall off. Partly because it's laid down, partly because the tabs could genuinely do with being a bit longer. There you go, a bit more upright and securing everything a bit more into place. Oh yeah, something that I would like to mention about these instructions that I do like is, for the vast part, there's just no language. So there's no reading, misinterpretation. You know, if something was originally written in, say, French, it's been translated poorly into English, or vice versa, you don't have to worry about that. Because I think that we've all had instructions where they've been written in pidgin English, and you're like, eh? So if you can, stick to pictorials. Pictures are, well, like they say, a picture's worth 1,000 words. Now we're genuinely getting very close to the end of this, and for putting on the very top part of the tower I ended up having to do that out of frame because, you know, it's tall. But all those final little touches did go together very nicely, very beautifully. And what I will say is that apart from the fact that the tabs could have done with being a bit longer, the lights could have done with being labelled, I genuinely found this a treat, a pleasure and a joy to put together. I would highly recommend it to anyone who can find it, but what I will say is it is actually quite hard to find in shops, because I actually got this secondhand from a charity shop. It was brand new, unopened, but I got it from a charity shop, and in trying to find how much it was actually worth, normally I really struggled. If I can find one, I will add a link for you, but if you genuinely can find it, please do get it. Oh yeah, and this is it with the lights off. Finished. Just wait till we get about a little lower down and you can really see it, and look at those colours that you can already see in the background. This has been a joy, a pleasure, and to be perfectly honest, quite a privilege given how hard it is to actually find. If you can find it, do get it. I highly recommend it. So, what do you all think? Let me know, and if there's anything else that you would really like me to do, please let me know. And I'll see you all next time. Bye!